with varieties planted out that we'll be looking at for possible inclusion in the catalogue. Probably look a little bit uneven to the experienced eye, which generally is the case because we're trying to plant certain numbers, and if we're only building up from one tuber, we're quite often having to work from a number of different batches of plants, you know, so it's like working through, making the best of what we've got. Now this is an area that we haven't got round and weeded round the bottom of the plants yet, so you can see there is a fair bit of weed growth, so that's going to be one of the jobs tomorrow, getting through. Main weed round here is chickweed and red dead nettle, but they won't take long to pull out. And then I've got a few more giants planted in here, and a little bit of rogan to do, because that's certainly one plant we don't want to see. That'll be coming out tomorrow. Okay, a little bit stunted there. That's Hamari Girl. The rest of the plants are all looking okay, but that one is definitely going the journey. If I hadn't been on holiday last week, it would have gone now. And then I've got a few Aggies and a few Louis and a few Brinterfell here, just to try a few giants to maybe put the covers on them if I feel as if I'm going to get there with them. I think I planted about a dozen varieties of giants, sometimes just 6 plants of each. And then I've got some Fims in here as well, about 8 or 9 varieties of Fims, but they're a bit behind where I'd ideally like them to be. But we shall see how it goes. The plants themselves are looking okay, just a little bit slow. And you can see the extent as to what we've got if you can see through there. And over the top of the covers there, if you can make that out. This group of 3 nets here, there's about 380 dahlias planted. It's mainly a few giants that I'm growing to see if I can get some really good blooms off them, and I've got some of my Fims that I wish they were a little bit further on, and then we'll have a net of trial varieties that we're growing from various parts, some from Austria, some supplied by Jeff Hoyle, and 1 or 2 varieties we've had for a couple of years that we're just giving another run out. And then we've got a couple of beds here that are just caned and tied. Quite a few of these are from the States. We get sent a number of varieties by Alan Fisher, and then we've also got a few from Tom Cleghorn. Not enough of them to actually plant in the nets because we maybe only had 2 or 3 plants, so we decided just to grow them more in the open, if you like, and just cane and tie them. When you're looking across the field there, so these first few nets here are all trial ones. Bits of colour starting to appear everywhere. Amazing what difference a few warm days makes. And we'll have a nice drop of rain on Saturday, almost too much to be honest. But it has really helped the dahlias come away. And they've had a couple of feeds of balanced and high potash over the last couple of weeks, which has helped as well. So this will be one of the new varieties for 2022, which is one of Phil Godsmark's Rycroft Caroline's Beauty. Might be one of those where it's actually difficult to get the true representation of the colour shown through, but beautiful rich lipstick pink. So in the front here we've got Totally Tangerine, and then one of our own raisins there, which is Hadrian's Summer Wine, which we have been selling some plants through the centre, through our shop this season. As you can see, there's little spots of colour starting to appear all over the dahlia fields now. Nothing virtually last week. After a late start planting, I think we're about a week ahead now on where we were last year. There's Western Pirate flicking back, Western Spanish Dancer. That's our Barbary Primrose Hall. Clearview Daniel there behind. Mari Rose. And I've just spotted a bed that I forgot to put labels in. Once we've got all our main stock planted, we'll fill up any gaps in the nets with some odd varieties that might be useful for cut flower. And the canes are in, but I forgot to do the labels for them. There's Mary's Jamander. You're just starting to see the colour in the buds there now. I think another 10 to 14 days and they will be looking pretty impressive and just in time for us at Harrogate. There's Rycroft Bella there. Just need to get me lawnmower out to cut the pathways. These are all grown for cut flower, and as an experiment these are only planted in 8 inches by 16 inches, so double density compared with what we normally do. So instead of being 120 to a net, there's 240 in each of these nets. That's looking back up the nursery to where I came from. You can see the wooden frames right at the top, just below the greenhouse there. So that's where the chrysanthemums were and our trial plot. This is our main plot of dahlias, and we've got the medium decks in front of us here. They're looking really good this year. I can't believe how much they've come on since Friday, to be honest, when there was no signs of colour. We were just disbudding these on Friday afternoon. And there we've got some Asquith Mini just starting to come out there. Beautiful colour. So this block here is all, apart from the Asquith Mini in this first bed, this is all the giant Deccan cactus, with the backdrop of the Centenary border there. even with the giants there's bits of colour coming through. So there's Cathay Olay just starting to flower. Probably the healthiest and best plants we've had of that, and growing really well. And this border is really filling up nicely now, with some of the dahlias starting to flower. It had the grass cut this morning to help set it off along here, but you can see from the edge of the beds there's still a little bit of like tidying up to do. Lovely little bedding dahlia, that's Spanish Conquest, raised by the late Ken Stock, so quite a recent variety. And then you've got Yellowhammer, which is a lovely bedding variety. That's quite an old one. And then I'm not quite sure what's different about this area this year, but the plants are so much better than last few years when we planted them. They're normally not looking this thick and colourful for about another 3 weeks yet. Hadrian's Midnight, absolutely stunning. Moonfire. And oops, I've got a bit of a mix-up. Got some of my Art Nouveau and Art Deco plant together. Blue Bayou there. And this is one of the first seedling, or one of the very first seedlings that we introduced as a plant. This is Magenta Magic. So yeah, another couple of weeks. And there should be plenty to see. We've got Winky Volcano coming through. We had this last year. Struggled a little bit on the top plot. I don't know whether it just got a little bit too dry, but I think it seems to be fading at the back. These two rows here will be interesting when they come out. These were single tubers in some cases that we got in either from America or quite late from some UK breeders. So they're not probably going to be at a peak until like next week. This is the one that was supplied by Jeff Hoyle for us to try. Thanks, Jeff. Joelle Louisa, a water lily. Very similar foliage wise to White Ballerina. Our sport of Le Feu de Soleil, which is coming through more orange at the screen as I'm looking there now, but it is a very, very fiery red, just dodging another post there. A few more Fims. Just going to be peaking for next week. That's Jenny. Then we have a water lily there called Hapet Lorelii, which in the greenhouse looks lovely, but seems to be just a little bit streaky outside. So I'm hoping it'll be a bit cleaner on the second flush. Because I've got some pot tubers of it and they're brilliant. This is Hapet Elite. Then we've got Hapet Perfect just coming through there. And Janny P, that there might be a couple of blooms out next week. We got quite a few from Peter Hasselhofer to trial, see how they did. That one's Hapet Focus. And then we've got Hapet Burgundy. A medium semi. This is John Sharp's seedling, which is now named last year, which is Eastwood Essex, which I'm quite pleased with. That just the one bloom out at the minute. There'll be a few more like next week. And then we have Anne Hammond, medium semi-cactus, which I first saw at Harrogate, I think 2018. Lady Darlene. We rescued one plant off the compost heap last year. I hadn't originally liked it. Then there was a tuber appeared growing quite strong and magnificent, so we lifted it and propagated it and planted some more out. This one looks interesting. This is High Debut, which is a large semi-cactus. Certainly masses of petal in there, just a little bit loose possibly. Rain on it's making it droop a little bit. Then we've got AC Ben just coming out. This is the sport of Kenora Valentine. It's come from Scotland. Blooms are a bit on the smaller side. Colours orange, very obvious, orangey bronze. Then we have Cynthia Houston, another large semi. This one just coming into view is Gemma Darling. So not all of these are new, they're just ones that we haven't necessarily tried before or come across before. Some have been out for a while, and just you've got to look at things sometimes, haven't you, to just extend the range. And then that's Court and Olympic. What is new for this year in our list will be Rycroft Caroline's Beauty. Lovely hot lipstick pink water lily. Grows to around about 4 feet. And this one here is from America originally, Summit Festival. I think the tubers were supplied by Jeff Hoyle. Very interesting, sort of darkish green foliage, purple stems, and this white tip on a peachy orange base. I had a sport last year of Blighton Stella that might have been able to secure like pure white. At the minute, every bud I can see is white, but obviously it's early days. Very free flowering, small, decorative, like a peach colour. This is Crazy for Dawn. Then we have Tom Cleghorn's Eye Candy, which we had a couple of years ago, lost the stock, and I asked Tom if he could supply us a couple of tubers to give it another go. It's only a brilliant one for cut flower. Good strong stem, stands upright up to about 5 feet. Probably a bit of a miss, this one, for trial and again or doing anything with. This is Happy Cover Girl. Reminds me, I think, of an overripe. I think it was Hamari Fiesta from when I was about 6 or 7 or 8 and was in the fields. Or it might have been, oh God, I'm going to have to look that up, I could be totally wrong. Talking a long time back. Just not enough petal in it, sadly. Another spot we had last year was off Rycroft Gold, so we ended up with this sort of one that was like white with richer base to it, so you can still see a little bit of the yellow, like orange yellow in the petal there. There's a couple of plants reverted. Rogue those out. Hopefully it won't come back next year. Hopefully by roguing it out we'll get it more pure to the sport, because it's actually quite delicate. Not for the show bench, but just a nice interesting colour. This one's Eastwood Jane. Small semi-cactus from again from John Sharp. And we've got Blighton Cloud 9, just still a developing bloom. Blight and Amanda. Well, that's not bad there. Problem is there's a few blooms showing a bit of white petal. This will be, I think, a really good garden variety. This is Crazy for Jessie, again from America. Free flowering, strong stems, a small semi-cactus. Another probable like near miss, this one. Just not enough petal there, miniature deck, but fades a little bit too much at the back. Then we've got Westerton Lady Gwenda. Rycroft Violet on trial. I had that last year and the colour was just so attractive, we just need to give it another go. And then we've got Rycroft Porcelain, a tall grower, something that we have actually added to the catalogue this year. A really good clean white. A little bit late flowering for us this year. Phil has it down as a miniature deck, probably needs to be double stocked. I think ours is going to be a little bit big the way we've grown them. Another interesting variety from Austria. This is Happy Harmony. Only gets to around about a metre, about 3 feet. And we've got another introduction, which is Down and Peggy. Another one from John Sharp is lovely dusky pinky purple. Large palm, strong growing plants up to around about 4 feet. Then we've got Happy Compo, again from Austria, again another large palm. A cream with a bit of a pink flush to it on some of the blooms when they're more out in the sun. It certainly shows on the younger ones, not so clear filming wise. And this is the one I'm very pleased with. We had one plant of Rosemary's Dawn. The problem of being on the flight path, sorry, we had one plant of Rosemary Dawn that sported this lovely peach, pale peach last year, and from that one plant we've managed to take plenty cuttings. There's no difference in them here. It's all fairly well secured by the look of it. No signs of it reverting anywhere. This lovely delicate peach. Plants growing to around about just short of 4 feet. Very free flowering, just coming into a full flush. And we might be able to make that an addition to next year's list, the way it's looking there. And then just beyond the little low pink single there is Hadrian's Bubblegum. The name's sticking now, even though it's probably a bit too deep a pink to be associated with bubblegum. And then Hadrian's Summer Wine and Totally Tangerine. So that's it, just a quick tour around the trials plot on the top end. You can see the spray chrysanthemums there running down over. Before I shut off, because I'm heading down that way anyway, I'll have a quick walk just to the bottom of the field and then hopefully have a chance another time to go through the rest of the field. So yeah, chrysanthemums are looking, spray chrysanthemums are looking quite good. Starting to cut a few of those now as they come on. And there we have our main plot of dahlias. Virtually all in full flush now. Looking absolutely stunning, even though it's a dull, miserable evening. No rain as yet. Front one there's Abby. Going right to the back, there's around about 4,000 on this plot in total, because there's some nets way in the distance there. There we go, that's from the other end of the main plot, looking back up across the nursery to where we've got the covers and the trial varieties. And we've got these nets here planted as additional ones just coming into their own now, with our big 100 at the bottom there. And then that's for slightly smaller plot with some of the giants, the water lilies, the collarettes on, the Centenary border planted at the back there, a few pallet benches if anybody fancies to sit down and just enjoy in the setting. There's just over 2,000 on this plot. And sorry, but I couldn't resist just walking down this side of the nursery. Got all the bedders here. The Centenary border just coming into flower. And the collarettes and the single flowered ones are just giving us absolutely stunning display at the moment. Earlier today they were just covered in bees and butterflies. Well worth coming to see it just on their own. But how's that for a view? And as I say, the side border there, the Centenary border I should say. The other fields are open for viewing daily until the first frosts, 9 till 4:30, Monday to Saturday, sorry, 10 till 4 on a Sunday. So yeah, look forward to seeing you and letting you enjoy having a stroll around. Cut flowers also available.